HayIshMandy, and I bet you're wondering what we're doing here today. Well, recently The Sims, or EA, released The Sims 1 and Sims 2 updated, so they are now able to be played on modern PCs again, which is really exciting for a lot of people, especially if these games were your childhood. For me, I did play The Sims 2 growing up, but I played it on the console because I didn't have The Sims 2 PC, so I never really got The Sims 2 PC experience. I did watch a lot of people play it on YouTube growing up, but I never got it myself. So I've kind of set out today and decided that I want that experience for myself. So we're gonna try and live out some basic. I'm not gonna go hard into the packs. I'm really just gonna try and play the game and survive. So I have a couple goals. I really want to see some different cutscenes. I want to get a job and make friends and an enemy.
What of it?
Adopt a pet, get a boyfriend, woohoo, get married, have a baby, max out a career, make up to 50,000 simoleons. 500,000 I think would be steep. 50,000 simoleons, or either buy a new house or expand on the one that we already have. And of course, I want to get all the experiences of starting a fire, being robbed, hopefully not dying, but I'm sure that'll happen. Maybe getting abducted. And I know there's like an experience where if you go crazy off of low social, like this weird scientist guy will come and help you out, or like a social bunny. So I really want to experience that as well. All right, so I've gone in ahead of time and already made a sim. Since it was my first time, I took forever going through all of the different options. So I didn't really record that part because it took me quite a long time. But I think she's really pretty. I think even though I'm used to doing Sims 4 Sims, I still did a pretty good job on making a decent looking Sim, since this game was made in the early 2000s and we are now in 2025. So I think if I go through her clothing, it still looks somewhat presentable for today's standards. Some of the clothing was very dated, which is obvious playing an old game, but it was just funny to see. For her aspirations, I did go ahead and give her the family aspiration, and her turn-ons are brown hair and facial hair. Turn-offs are gray hair, because we don't really need an old man. And I wanted to do just a single sim starting because I didn't want to overwhelm myself with trying to handle an entire family, which, looking back on this experience now, I'm actually very glad I did, because you'll see later on when I add more Sims to this family, I really start to struggle. So I would definitely, if you're going back into The Sims after years of not playing, I recommend doing just one Sim. It gets overwhelming really quick. So I went ahead and just picked a house also for us to move into. I picked like one of the cheapest ones, because I don't want to try and build today. I just want to move in and have the experience. And the cutscenes so far are everything. Like even just the cutscene of moving into the house, it's so perfect. I love it. I enabled tutorials and then promptly skipped all of the tutorials to start with. So yeah, great. Looking at our first house, I think it's a nice place to start, and I didn't want to build, but it looks like it's emptier than I had anticipated. So I still went ahead and put a bed down. And I like in The Sims 2, you can change like the wood color and also the bedding. And then I went ahead and gave us a TV and some furnishings. And I called that good enough. Don't judge my design abilities. My Sim is already disappointed in my decisions. I did my best, okay? Next, I went ahead and took a second to familiarize myself with the needs of the Sims. And she had to go to the bathroom, so I got to experience my first Sims 2 bathroom experience. I think it went pretty well. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that when I saw butterflies outside of my Sims house, I got a little too excited. And her walking outside and waving at the mailman and him waving back at her also was such a cute thing. And the way my jaw hit the floor when she took that jar out of her booty hole and just started catching butterflies. Like, you know, if that was The Sims 4, they would just be clapping them between their hands, essentially crushing them. Like, they would not be alive. This method is so much better. Sims 2 is better. Also, if you are still watching up to this point, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and a comment. It really does help. It was also at this moment that a man called Mr. Humble brought a present to the front of my house. And I went ahead to open it, and it was a whole computer. Just a whole computer. I wish that that would happen to me. Then this garden lady came to my house, and apparently there's like a yard of the month thing that also is going on. I found that a little too overwhelming. So I decided not to do that yet, but I did greet her because my goal is to make a friend. And apparently I fulfilled one of my wants, which was probably to introduce myself to someone, so that kind of worked out. After that, I just kind of started clicking around everywhere, trying to see what I could all do, and discovered that bug hunting and bird watching and cloud gazing is a thing that you can just do. It's called a preference for nature, or like it's a hobby that your Sims can just be really into nature, and I really enjoyed that. So I let her bird hunt for quite a while. They just kind of keep going. She gained some enthusiasm for nature, which love that for her. Also, you can just kind of dig for buried treasure on your yard. And it takes a while, and you put a nice hole in your yard. But you actually end up finding things if you go long enough. I think I found this pot that does nothing, but it was a nice decorational item. Or you can sell them for money, which I didn't do quite a while later, and then you will see that I end up regretting not doing that. But it was at this point that I started getting some visitors to my property to welcome me into the neighborhood. And I was very excited because the Nina Caliente came to my house, and I made it my special mission that we were going to be best friends. It was a little intimidating becoming her friend because immediately she started poking fun at the gardening lady that was there. They just decided to become natural enemies the second they met each other, which was fun to see. So I did my best trying to navigate the Sims social menu. I didn't know what things were offensive to Sims and what things were not. And as I was trying to do my best to socialize with Nina, the Sims that also were guests at my house kept like walking into us and backing up. I guess we were just in the high traffic zone, but I thought this was a very funny interaction to see as I was playing. I then remembered this is The Sims 2, and this is set in the early 2000s, so of course I also need to make sure I have a phone, because that's how I talk to people. And I also went ahead and gave myself a stereo because it just felt right. I really couldn't have Nina thinking that I was a boring person. Additionally, in my 10 minutes of playing The Sims, I learned that they don't like to give you a second to calm down, because no sooner than I was making my first friend, all of a sudden a matchmaker was knocking on my door asking if I wanted to buy some of her love potions or have her look into her crystal ball and help me find my soulmate. So naturally I shook her hand and told her, yes, I would love to be set up on a blind date. She proceeded to ask me if I wanted my date to be a male or female, which I said male because I want a man to get me pregnant. She then brought it to my attention that I apparently had to pay for her services. I thought she was being a charitable Samaritan. She was not. I then gave her a whopping $37 for my date, and she said I would get what I paid for. And so a man immediately fell from the sky. It was at this point that I was immediately shoved into a 3-minute timed blind date. And I have never felt this kind of stress in my life. 3 minutes to try and make this man fall for me. I did my best trying to talk with him. He seemed very disinterested in Layla the whole time. And because he seemed like a sporty guy, I decided playing catch with him would be a good idea. I would immediately regret that decision because he chucked the ball at me, and Layla was very not pleased with him after that. Even though that was an amazing date, it was time for me to actually start taking care of my Sims again. So I had her go back inside as the last seconds of our date ticked on, and it immediately turned from day to night. Not even a gentle sunset in between, just straight to nighttime. I think oddly enough, that was one of the most jarring changes from The Sims 2 to The Sims 4 was just the immediate time switch. But ignoring that, I had to go back to taking care of my Sim, and I watched her put a cardboard box in the oven. That definitely wouldn't be a problem. Nope, definitely not a problem. I don't know if it was just Sims logic or they were punishing me for having the audacity to try and cook something in The Sims 2. But I'm gonna blame it on a whole cardboard box going into the oven. I don't see how that's safe in any form of reality. I went ahead and let my Sim and all her guests sweat it out for a second before having her try to exterminate the fire. I think the nice part is the fire spread wasn't that bad. It stayed pretty contained to the oven the whole time, which was pretty convenient for me. And it took a really long time for her to put the fire out. I didn't speed this up. This is just how The Sims takes care of fire. Maybe installing a fire alarm made too much sense, but I didn't do that. Another thing I found very interesting in The Sims is that guests stay for a long time. The gardening lady came to my house at the beginning of the day, and it is late into the night, and she's still here. So they don't really leave until you tell them to, or it's pretty close to midnight. I liked how Nina left and just said bye. I don't know, that just seems really fitting for her character. Since What's-His-Face hadn't left yet, I tried my luck at flirting with him a few more times, which went okay, but then I saw a dog outside her house and decided I had more important things to do. It was also at this moment that I learned trying to adopt a stray is incredibly hard because they normally end up leaving before you're ready. So since things weren't going well with the dog, I decided it was time to get a job. You have to check the newspaper to get a job, and every day it gives you a couple different options for what career to pick for that day. You can flip through them. I ended up going for the entertainer career because it offered the most money that day. I didn't really have a plan, I just kind of needed the cash. Then the frickin' stray from outside decided to come into my house and try and rip up my couch. So I ended up shooing it away and deciding to try to go to bed for the night. I truly thought that my first day in The Sims was done until our blind date snuck back up to our house. I kind of thought he was trying to sneak in for a booty call, so naturally I invited him in the house. Probably not my best judgment, but I don't know. I'm just playing the game, you know? So once he made it inside our house, I kid you not, he just gave my Sim finger guns and then proceeded to just leave. The matchmaker truly was correct when she said that I would get exactly what I paid for. And with that, my first day in The Sims 2 was a success. I got a job, made a friend, went on a date, and started a fire. That may not be a success in your book, but I think it is a success in mine. I also just want to take a moment to say the animation of The Sims 2 is so beyond The Sims 4. It is not as crisp as The Sims 4, but it is detailed. The way they rub their eyes when they wake up and then turn around and make their bed, it's just so beautiful. Like, just watch the way she opens the door and shuts it with her elbow before complaining that something is stuck in her oven, which I learned the TV dinner that we burned last night was still inside it. Also, before I could stop her, she sat down and took a bite out of it. I really hope that doesn't kill her. I don't think that it would kill her, but it's also The Sims 2, so I'm not gonna write anything off. So with that done, I went back to cooking. And this time, the Sims god smiled upon me, even though I also had to resume cooking because she forgot. And I didn't miraculously burn the place down this time. Toaster pastry has never tasted so sweet. I enjoyed that moment for all of 5 seconds before I realized that eating something does not fill up your entire hunger bar like it does in The Sims 4. No, I had to cook multiple items in order to fill my Sim's hunger bar. I have never felt more like my Sim self because she had to eat 3 meals to fill her hunger bar. Also, please take a moment to enjoy my Sim making a paper airplane out of her morning's newspaper. Adorable. And not only that, but she also flies it all the way to the trash can. I demand that The Sims 4 brings this level of wholesomeness back to the game. The Sims 4 takes itself too seriously. We need some sort of level of chill back in The Sims. Serious matters over. I also want to go ahead and point out that bug collecting is also a thing in The Sims 2. Not only can you collect different bugs, but then in your inventory, which I just find here, you can actually like display them, which is a very cute feature that The Sims 4 didn't really put enough effort into, in my opinion, because the bug catching system is only available if you have Outdoor Retreat, and it's not that great. There is also something to be said about the simplicity of The Sims 2, like just maintaining social interactions with friends, cleaning counters, filling in holes, and hanging out with Sims is so entertaining. Like, it's entertaining enough to fill your day. I feel like in The Sims 4, I have to do so many things to keep myself interested versus just living a life simulation in The Sims 2 has kept me so entertained. It also helps that the social interactions for The Sims 2 is completely hilarious and unserious. As you can see, I called back over our blind date to try things out with him one more time, decided I really wasn't into him, he really wasn't into me, and you can see how that went for us. And I'm not 100% certain if he kicked over the trash can to start, and then ended up feeling bad because he made us cry that he decided to clean it back up immediately after doing it, or if it was just like that to begin with, but I kindly shooed him away. We forgive, but we don't forget. It was also at this point that I discovered that my house was a little too dark. I don't know how I neglected to notice that there were like no lights in the house. But I remedied that, and then I decided to also change the layout of the house because I didn't like that diagonal corner front door situation. So I went ahead and changed that and decided to make my house a little cuter. You know, I had a little bit of money in the funds, so I went for this kind of cottagecore look for the house, grandma style. I think it's really cute. And I just want to take a moment to look at how beautiful the Sims 2 cooking animations are. Like getting utensils out of the drawer, getting things out of the cabinets. Oh, the process is just so satisfying to watch. Tasting the food, bringing it up to her mouth. I love it. I want more detail like this in other Sims games. Rant aside, we have successfully finished another day in The Sims 2. My Sim has not died. And today I accomplished, I think nothing. I don't think I accomplished anything on my goals. We didn't get a boyfriend. I didn't woohoo. I haven't even started my first day at my new job. Yeah, we've accomplished exactly nothing. So I think it was a very successful day. I guess we didn't die, so that has to count for something. So I started the day by getting tasks laid out for my Sim to take care of their needs for the day. When I saw the cutest Pomeranian looking little dog, her name was Grace. I decided that Grace was my new mission. She was adorable. She was everything I wanted. So I immediately started petting her, loving on her. I even played fetch with her, which is so cute. Oh my gosh. I thought our bond was going great. I started teaching her tricks. I started teaching her how to come to me. And then she promptly decided to leave me. Like they all do. I saw a Sim in front of my house. I'm like, okay, let's just work on making a new best friend. Interactions did not go well. So I decided, okay, she's enemy number 1. Got it. And then she started liking me. So I don't know. The Sims is mysterious. It was at this moment that I remembered, far in the beginning of this episode, that Mr. Humble had gifted me a computer that I never put out in my Sim's house. So I went and bought a desk and a chair, and then I set off to find my Sim's inventory. It took me a couple chances. I ended up stumbling upon the aspiration rewards and learned I had enough aspiration points for a money tree. And so I decided that was a worthy purchase. Went ahead and put that down, and then finally found my Sim's inventory and put down the computer that he gifted, my bug collection that I had started from the bugs I collected, and then that mysterious treasure I dug up. It was a little vase. I put it in my bedroom. I really should have sold it for money I probably could have used that more than a vase randomly put on the floor, but it was my first treasure. It was special to me. Little did I know that it was not going to last. A little foreshadowing there for you. I went ahead and harvested from my money tree, gave it a little water so it wouldn't die. I don't know if you can kill it, but I'm not going to risk it. Then I saw this cool goth girl walking by, and I thought she has to be my friend. And then I really wanted to get a car. We had it in the funds. I thought I'd be a cool truck girl. Realized I'm a sloppy jalopy girl. I know sloppy jalopy was the Sims 3 name for it. It had a different name in The Sims 2, but I don't care. It will always be a sloppy jalopy to me. Once the car was down, I immediately started investigating, realized you could install an alarm system into the car, which I found suspicious. But then thought, no, I don't need that. Would also be a mistake. So please learn from me and install an alarm system in your vehicles. It was at this point that I finally started exploring and trying to find where the skills section was in The Sims 2, and instead found my interests panel. I didn't know Sims could have different interests, but I guess they can, which I think is really cute. There's also a hobby enthusiasm panel, which I learned we are kind of into nature and cuisine, and that's about it. Then I found the memory system, which I thought was really cute, and it starts to like track your memories. It said I had a first kiss, which I don't remember my Sim having, but apparently somewhere in her life she has had a first kiss with a mysterious Sim. I don't know who it was. I really want to find out because I know my Sim hasn't had a kiss yet. I didn't get any cutscenes, but apparently this mysterious Sim was now a best friend of mine and we had kissed them. I don't know. Finally found the skills panel. It is in the work or like career panel in case you're new and were wondering where that was as well. And then I figured out I needed to be working on my charisma skill for my job, so I went and bought a mirror and placed that down. And my Sim was hungry again, so I fed her. The spaghetti apparently wasn't enough, so we had another TV dinner. Went a little more successfully this time. I didn't burn the house down. And then my new friend caught fireflies and brought them in our house. So naturally, I decided I also had to go outside and catch lightning bugs. And I just want to draw your attention to when you catch lightning bugs and put them in a jar, they cast their own light. And that attention to detail is everything for me. With my newly caught lightning bugs, I went and bought another end table because that's what you gotta do, obviously. And put my lightning bugs next to my bed because vibes. And then The Sims 2 is just so good at details because I was not expecting my lightning bugs to die in the middle of the night. But to be fair, that's so true. I don't know what person as a kid didn't catch lightning bugs, put them in a jar next to their bed at night, and then woke up to them dead in the morning. And so you can then click to like clean them out. And so your Sim will take the jar outside and shake the dead bugs out of the jar. And I don't know where she put the jar when she was done, but I'll think about that later. I've also made it my personal mission every morning to harvest and water our money tree as soon as we get up, which I learned it will respawn multiple times a day. So as long as you are harvesting from it, it will come back. And luckily it puts out this very nice sound when it does. That way you know that it has fresh money for you. After only having the money tree for one day, I'm not sure if it's random every day or if there's a set amount of money, if time has anything to do with it. Some days I'll get $40 and some days I'll get $1. So I don't know. I don't know how the money tree works. That aside, today wasn't like any other day in The Sims. No, today was the first day of our new job. I went ahead and updated that charisma skill to give us the best chance of promotion and watched as my Sim got in the car and left for her first day of work. I love seeing them get in the car and pull away. I think The Sims 4 could easily insert something like that into The Sims 4. Like, I know we don't have open worlds, but if The Sims 2 can have cars, we can have cars. I then got my first pop-up and I learned these things are freaking rigged, okay? There's like no right way to answer this. Basically, a heckler threw a piece of corn at her and she either had to decide if she would take the corn and make a corny joke or throw it back. I thought throwing it back would get us fired, but apparently that wasn't the right choice as she ended up making awful jokes with it, which affected her creativity skill and took that down, apparently. After many lovely hours of watching bystanders pass back and forth in front of my house, my Sim finally returned from work. with a whopping 240 simoleon. Not a bad day's work. I went ahead and instantly paid our bills, which I've learned I need to get an end table and put it right at the very beginning of our house, because they will then take the bill and walk all the way upstairs to put it down on an end table and then go out to the mailbox and put it away. So I think for next part, I'm going to make sure I buy an end table or something on the first level. That way she doesn't go all the way upstairs with our bills every time we need to pay those. I then harvested from my money tree to make back the money I just spent on bills and took care of my Sims' needs again. Which I learned with one Sim. It is not that bad to take care of their needs. It feels reasonable, besides hunger, needing to eat 3 things every time. But it's not that bad. Here, my Sim must have taken the worst crap of her life, because the toilet looked atrocious when she was done with it. But I decided that would be tomorrow's problem. The next day started much the same as any other. I had her wake up, clean the toilet from last night, make her herself 3 helpings of breakfast, and take out the trash before deciding to gift her an art easel so we could improve our creativity skill for work. I myself am no Picasso, but I think she had a wonderful time on her balcony, enjoying the summer sun and breathing in the fresh air, which I think we could all learn something from. But like all enjoyable things, it was time to snap back into reality and go to work for the day. When she returned home later that night, we got our first promotion, which was really exciting. We were promoted to birthday mascot, which involved some clown makeup. I think she wasn't as thrilled about it as I was, but it is what it is. And I'm pretty proud of how we've been doing so far. Only 2 days or 3 days. I think it was 2 days. 2 days after starting our new career, we've already got a promotion. And not to toot my own horn, but I think I was really starting to get the hang of Sims 2. I, was taking care of our needs in the morning, cleaning, getting ourselves ready to go. I was making sure she was going to work with flying colors, all in the green. Moodlet's perfect. Eating 3 meals a day before we even leave for work. I was getting the hang of this. I was feeling good. I was also keeping up on our social life, making sure we were calling our bestie, Nina Caliente, and the matchmaker, and talking to them just about every day to work on our social, because I wasn't having people over every day. I am a professional. I've been playing The Sims for years now. I think I know what I'm doing. And then she headed to her first day of work as a party clown, and I love the outfits. I just miss this kind of level of silly in The Sims. I need more of it. And then another work pop-up came to ruin my day. Basically, a kid was crying because of the fake, taking her thumb off trick. I figured explaining it was not correct, because then we break the magic. And so I made them a balloon animal, and the balloon animal popped in the kid's face, and I got charisma skills taken away from my Sim, which was great. And as if to kick me when I was down, a dog came into my yard and started putting a giant hole in it. Thank you, Rose. I really needed that. That's awesome. I decided to reward myself for a great day's effort, at least, and decided to take my Sim out on the town because we haven't gone anywhere. I've been basically a homebody the whole time, so I thought I would take Layla out to the park to maybe go work on that boyfriend, because besides getting a job and a promotion, we haven't really accomplished much else. So I took her to the park in hopes to find us a man we could marry and have babies with, and who was decently attractive. This is easier said than done, as finding an attractive male Sim in The Sims 2 is incredibly hard. But then I spotted Kennedy Cox, Mr. Cox, if you will, and thought he would be a good potential. I also spotted Brandon Lillard. He seemed like a good potential too, but I was worried he looked too much like a teen, so I went with Mr. Cox, which the 2 Sim ladies in the back also agreed was a good idea. And after further conversation with Mr. Cox, I soon started to notice a detail called his nose was very long. And I began looking at Mr. Brandon's nose in the background and thinking, you know what, if I was going to pass anything on to our children, I think Brandon was the better choice, and he wasn't a teen. So I was able to move forward with a clear conscience. And things were going good between me and Brandon until my sim started becoming uncomfortable and hungry, and I decided it was time for us to go ahead and head home. And there is something about watching the animation of the car pulling into the driveway and Sims getting in and out of the car that is so satisfying. Once again, Sims 4, please add this to the game. I am begging. After allowing my sim to get a quick nap in, I went to make her more food. Almost burnt the house down, which ended up becoming a secret blessing because I spotted another dog walking by our windows outside. I decided I would try my luck at getting him. And once again, I really thought I was onto something here. We were doing great. We were building our bond. He came inside my house and then he left me again, like they always do. I was getting very upset. I was getting very tired of that at this point. Another day, my clown went to work. She came home. We repaired some objects and I had her go to bed. And I thought that would be the end of our story, that it would be another peaceful day in the Sims world. I was very wrong. I was very wrong about that. Because after almost a full week in The Sims, I finally got my first burglar, which was something I was hoping to experience. I was so excited when I started to hear the music play, and then I started panicking because I realized I didn't know what to do. I tried clicking on the sim to see if I could fight them. I couldn't, so I called the police, and my horrors and regrets about not putting a car alarm in my car started because she must have known that and took advantage and stole my sloppy jalopy. It was at this point that my sim finally made it downstairs and I was able to get to the phone to call the police. And the police's response time is incredible. I was also very happy to see them going upstairs because I knew there was only one exit. And our beast of a female cop got up there, instantly starting attacking the robber. I believe her name was Jessica. And they did get a good poke in the eye, but I think, you know, our hero responded in a great way, jumping on her back, taking her down. She did an awesome job. 10 out of 10. And watching the animation of the robber being arrested was so satisfying, with putting the hands behind their back and cuffing them and taking them down to the car. There's everything about this. I just love it. It is so satisfying. Yeah, Jessica, get in that car. I want you to think twice before you come and steal from me again, okay? I'm gonna miss that sloppy jalopy. She did reimburse us for the things that were stolen, but I'm pretty sure that $600 she gave me wouldn't even cover the sloppy jalopy car that I paid for. Definitely, I was not gonna be getting my vase back, so I did lose those items. But with that, I thought that would be a good place to end for the day. So if you had a fun time watching, please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you have not subscribed. Leave comments also as things you would like to see me doing in The Sims 2, things you want to see me try. I'm always excited to learn more. So let me know how you liked it. Thanks.